So unless you get it.
Awesome. All right, let's see if we get some feedback on here. Hopefully not.
Oh, you mean the echo?
Okay, I'm going to come out of that now. Beautiful. Uh-oh. Are we still live? Because I just switched away.
I see. Yeah, I see Facebook on my in my top left corner. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Welcome everybody. Oh. I thought I pressed submit. Yay. Okay.
There you go.
Yay. We're live. Thank you for bearing with us with some of these.
Oh my God. It's fun. Hi, Leslie.
Hey, Leslie, how are you? So glad you're here.
In her manifested room.
Oh, you're on mute, by the way. We can't hear you, but I love your kimono. It's so pretty.
Oh my God. Yeah, she's on the phone.
Can't talk.
So it's fine. I mean,
okay. Welcome. For those of you that are in Facebook, welcome, welcome. Be sure to click the link in the post that I put this morning and join us live. We want to see you. This is like a coffee chat. Sarah and I are mastermind sisters. We both have our.
Wait, but mine doesn't say thought leader, but because it washed off.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend, my dear friend, Sarah Vie. We're going to be talking all about energizing your environment today. She's going to share some juicy stuff. We want you guys to be engaged in the conversation too. So come join us live in the Zoom room because I am not a big techie like most of us in the coaching world. We just want to help people. And so tech is not necessarily our jam, right? So I can't see your comments, but if you do leave a comment or a question for me or Sarah Vie, I promise we will circle back around. We will answer them for you. But really the best place to be right now is live in here in the Zoom room so we can really see you, you can see us, and we can connect with you. And we're really, really glad to kind of have you here. For those of you that are watching this on the replay, amazing. We are streaming it inside of the Facebook group so that you can watch the replay. And Sarah and I are both going to be sending it out to our people, our email list, our amazing community. So if you're watching it on the replay, so glad to have you here. So Sarah, welcome.
Yay! Yes, thank you so much. I mean, I love, and I had put in my email this week on my email list that I love when women, raise each other up rather than comparison. There is collaboration as we're taught, to collaborate with one another rather than it being like competition or, oh, well, she has something. Like when we can raise each other up, it's just the most amazing, experience. And then, it's like a win-win for everybody. So I'm so grateful that, you understand the whole collaboration rather than competition. Mm-hmm. And, I always say, competition is ego and collaboration is soul. Absolutely. So when we get to share our expertise and whatever it is, we're able to lift, everybody up. So yeah, so thank you so much for, allowing me to create this and coming into your neck of the woods. I think there was a forecaster that said in your neck of the woods. I think it's Al Roker. Yeah,
Al Roker.
So.
Al Roker. It is.
That's awesome. Yeah, I have, collaborations always just feel so much more fun to me. Right. I mean, we all know when we get into that energy of compare and despair or fear of, oh, someone's going to take, a piece of the pie that belongs to me, that never feels good. And so I don't go there. I don't believe in that. Actually, I don't believe that there's one pie and that we only get so much. I believe in the whole bakery. I believe that there's so much available for all of us, and we create win-wins with everybody, with your audience, with my audience, with the people who are here, the people that might see it later. Like, who knows? There is so much wisdom in these connections and collaborations. And, that is something, a way that I know, Sarah, that you have chosen to run your business. It's the way that I choose to run my business. It's how I grew my health coaching practice when I was a health coach, by collaborating with doctors and holistic health practitioners. And it's just fun. It's fun. So I'm so glad you're here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about the Energizing Your Environment. I have your
Yeah.
manifestation bag and it is so darn cute. You guys have to get this. This is like so adorable. I don't even know if Sarah's selling it anymore. But
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, yes, my manifestation kit is on my website. And yes, it is of course still available. But oh, there it is. Oh, nice. Energizing your environment is, one of my tools. I had said before we came on here, Chris, we're all on this path, I think, of wanting to manifest, our best, happiest, most abundant lives. That is the ultimate destination for everybody that's on the spiritual journey, whether you're working with a coach, whether you are, whatever it is that you're doing, that is an ultimate destination. And one of my favorite steps, a lot of people don't, kind of take it into consideration when they are on their path of manifesting. And I call it, it's kind of cool that I came up with the abbreviation of Energize Your Environment, and it's called EYE. So EYE is I. And the reason why I abbreviated it is because it's like, oh my God, it actually, so, I'm all about chakras, and opening, all 7 of our chakras. And the third eye is, one of the chakras, the 6th chakra. If nobody has any idea what chakras are, let me know. I know.
I think you're in good company.
Know all about that. Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So the third eye, when we are healthy, when we are balanced, we are able to have, clear thought, maybe a spiritual contemplation, self-reflection. And it is, one of our highest chakras in our physical body, that it actually, when it's open, when it's healthy, when it's not blocked, it allows us to be visually, to have like a visual perspective. So EYE, it's like, oh my God, that's a perfect name for it. So Energize Your Environment is one of my tools that I use. And let me I'll kind of backtrack, is that people don't really understand that our outer environment is completely reflected in, or let me just say, our inner environment in our mind is reflected into the outside, what we surround ourselves with. Does this make sense to you? I mean, it makes so much sense to me. And sometimes people are like, well, I never even thought of that. I'm like, yes. So the whole thing is, about unblocking anything that might be standing in our way. And of course, through my 5-step process, this is one of my steps. And I didn't realize it because when, before I started this whole journey, I had clutter everywhere. I mean, this was years ago, because I married an engineer, and, he was just, A to B, pretty basic. Not everything was put away. And here was this like artsy woman that comes into his life when, I was in my 20s. And, I have things everywhere. I have, I was designing jewelry at that time. And so here was this engineer who wanted everything, exactly the way but I was cluttery. I had piles of things everywhere. And I did not realize that really played a huge, huge part when I was trying to manifest, my best life, build a business. I was, he and I used to roll my eyes, but he would always say this to me, and I would just be like, ugh. But he would say, organization is the key to success. And now I'm actually living
and teaching
and teaching.
That's awesome.
Living and teaching that. So I don't, we'll say we're no longer together. I love him dearly, but that wasn't the reason why we separated. But it is a one of the things that I live by now, even though I would roll my eyes and I'm like, oh my God, you're so annoying. But yeah, organization is a key to success, but not but not to the point where we have to be perfect. Like everything has to be, I think there's extremes in everything. And I think that, the extreme of perfectionism is actually the opposite, because there's fear,
Yeah.
in that. Like my house, if you came in, my house is kind of like a spa, but it not, I love my things, but everything is very like organized in little genres. And so I have a lot of things. It's, I know if he ever was to come here and live here with me, which is not going to happen, he would be like, he could not handle all these things. But
Yeah.
I'm very visual, and I love, I love my environment, and it creates this energy to me, on the outside. But what I've learned is, part of my 5-step process is the clearing and releasing of the limitations, the old stories, the reason why we're holding on to the things that no longer serves the highest version of you. And this is part of it. So when you are looking to the outside and there's piled up newspapers, or a painting on the wall that perhaps your mother-in-law gave you. This is a really funny story.
It doesn't really resonate with you anymore.
But clutter on the outside isn't just stuff. It is old limitations. It's stress. It's disorganization. It's procrastination. It's fear. It's guilt. Because I'll tell you the funny story with my mother-in-law is, she was a painter. She was from Holland. We did not see eye to eye, but I was very kind, and I allowed her to kind of rule my roost, because that was something that I had to clear. And she was a painter, and she gave me this painting that she painted. And it was nice, but it wasn't my style. Mm-hmm. And she was very controlling. And when she would come to visit, she would look around my house and look for this painting. And and then she's like, why is, and she wanted me to put it in the front entry hallway or whatever, going into the dining room. I'm like, that is not going there. So it was one of those paintings that whenever she came to visit, I would just put it up on the wall and then put it down again. But remember, and then, but it was so funny, because it somehow, when I moved down here to Delaware, I somehow packed it. And my organizing friend came down and she goes, why do you still have that painting? And I'm like, oh my God, why do I have that painting? And it was because there was still energetic guilt connected to it. And I'm like, oh my God. So long story short is I have like a little driveway sale sometimes out here with all the people coming down, walking down to the beach. And someone bought it for $200. And I'm like, oh, that's so awesome. So
wow.
What I'm trying to say is, a lot of the things that we have in our house, remember, everything has energy. Everything that we have, like anything in your house, have energy to it. So what I was doing was I was actually bringing really, negative energy, because there was a story connected to her, because she caused a lot of, I allowed her to cause a lot of, feelings and my limitations that I would feel about myself, that because she was very judgy. But I was bringing that into my home. And energizing your environment is something that I do pretty much on a monthly basis. Like I go around and make sure, there's nothing in my house now that doesn't, bring me joy, that I don't remember buying it, that I just absolutely love everything in my home. But it's amazing how, when we're trying to manifest whatever it is, whether it's a better relationship with your family, or finding the love of your life, or building a business, manifesting financial flow, I'm telling you, when I cleared things out of my environment, things just started to I mean, that wasn't the only thing, but I make sure that every one of my steps I take, and I make sure that there's a balance, because we just don't realize that our outer environment plays everything on what's going on inside. Make
Amazing.
sense?
It so
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, it's one of the reasons probably why I know I posted this earlier, I love fresh flowers. So I keep fresh flowers on my desk so that I can look at them because it makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Yeah.
my desk starts getting too cluttered, I don't like it. Like I can feel just like bogged down. And so I have to like take care of that clutter,
Right.
refile it or put it where it needs to go or throw out the things.
Right. Because, another thing is that, you had mentioned, oh, I love your office. Well, I basically set my office up wherever I feel comfortable. Like, this is my front room of my home. Sometimes I'm on my beautiful white loungy sofa. Depending on, I don't like a desk. Like, I don't like sitting at a desk. It just it doesn't fill me with joy, or it does not energize me when I sit behind a desk. So that's also plays a part, is I really listen to, what do I feel like, same thing with like and so environment also has to do, like right now, if you could, I wish there was like something like, smell-o-vision, because I have all my candles burning, I've got incense going, and I've got soft music playing. Everything plays a part in your state of being. And this is something that I've done over and over again, as I kind of walk into the room and kind of feel what is the mood that I'm into today, and that's what I created, that surrounds me.
That's beautiful,
Makes sense?
Sarah. I want to speak into a piece that I think you and I probably take for granted, but some of our people might not really understand. Why is it easier to manifest when we're feeling good? Why do things naturally happen and come into our life in a more easeful, more effortless way when our environment is amazing, when we're feeling excited, when we're feeling inspired, when we're feeling relaxed, whatever that is?
So, I mean, I'm not a doctor, but I play an energy healer on TV. But I am all about, energy. And I really believe that when our 7 chakras are open and are clear, and we're not holding on to stories, we are able to, this is what universe manifests. Our and I love this tagline, that our inner feeling, not what we're thinking, is our inner feeling is our magnet. It is what universe matches what we are feeling. So if we're talking a good game, and we're saying, oh, I really want to manifest money, and I'm feeling really good, but if you're not in alignment with that, universe matches what you're feeling.
Yep.
So of course, when you are open, when you're full of joy, it has an energetic frequency that is more attractive to universe, divine, whatever your belief system is. And so this is why we are able to manifest, in that space. So the idea in life is to constantly be open, constantly be making sure that your 7 chakras are completely open. Because as soon as you have a limitation or a story, it closes. And then universe is like, yeah, but you say that you want it, but you're totally closed.
Yeah.
So the more open you are, the more you heal all your 7 chakras, the more open you are to manifestation. If that kind of answers that question, because it I was always like, well, I want what I want, and I know what I want, and I'm telling, universe or whoever that is, this was way back when I wasn't really trusting. Why can't I do this? And what I have done so much work in, opening, healing those old stories, because the first process, or if you live in Canada, process, I love that process, is about clearing and then releasing, clearing those stories, first understanding what they are.
Yeah.
What are those stories that are closing you to the universe? What and then releasing them energetically, and then being able to actually fill yourself with what you want by reparenting that little inner child so that you can create a new energy. And then what happens is you get this incredible opening to the universe.
Yeah.
So I think that in a nutshell, it is all about making sure that you're always open, you're always conscious of any story that you're holding on to.
Yes.
And
Oh my gosh, yes. An analogy that I like to use is, thinking about, some of those stories that we have, those old belief systems, I think of those as like basement stories, right? Where a basement, like you're in the basement and you're like, oh, but I want more light, but I want but you you're kind of stuck in the basement. And those are the stories that kind of keep you there. And
I love that. Are you stuck in the basement? I love that.
Basement. Yeah. But if we think about, just a building, let's just pick a building in New York City on one main street. I don't even know if there is a one main street. I don't go to New York a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
But, you can be in one building, right? And you can either choose to be in the basement and focus on those stories, or you can get on the elevator and you go up to the penthouse and you have a beautiful view. And it's not that when you're in the basement, the penthouse isn't accessible. It is. It's just that the vibration energetically, the feeling that you're feeling is keeping you at that lower vibrational rate. And what we want to do is get up there so that we can rise our vibration so that we can actually be in resonance with what is already available.
And you know what the most powerful thing to understand is, this being in that penthouse is available for every single one of us. I don't care if you say, yeah, but listen, we've all had trauma, we've all had pain, we all have the basement stories. So it is a choice to stay in the basement. And if you want to settle, and if you just feel comfortable, because in the basement sometimes feels safe and secure for so many people, but it's fine. I'm not going to get into the details about my marriage, because it at that moment it was perfect for where I was in my life. But I felt like more and more that I just kept, there was a flood coming in the basement, and I needed to get out. So I could have stayed there. It would have been so much easier just to stay in that basement. But I wanted, and it's available, and I knew that it was available to me, to be in the penthouse, to get there. And I think sometimes people don't know how to get on the elevator, and they think that they have to get on the elevator by themselves. And it's available. Everybody has the ability to get on the elevator with somebody that's already in the penthouse. Woo, these are some good analogies.
I know, right? I tell my clients, I'm like, stop looking for my clients that I teach and I train in my Activate Abundance program. Stop looking for clients in the basement. Go look for your people who are in the penthouse. They're up there. They're waiting for you. Like, that's where we want to go. And this piece of clearing your energetic environment, which I also, like to call aligning, right? Aligning with that alignment, energetic alignment, is critical. And if we don't start here, it doesn't matter what steps you take. If you're still taking steps from the basement, you're still going to get the results that a basement can give you.
And if you don't release the energy of the basement, you're going to keep, going up to a certain point and then going back down again. So we get to, with expertise who, I feel like you're up in the penthouse and you've done the work to get there. And what we get to do is we get to follow the light, or, the steps, up there. And, but releasing the energy from the, from the basement stories. I love that, from the basement stories, but we get to release the energy from the basement, because if you don't, universe is going to constantly be pushing you back down into the basement energy, you know, and then it gets frustrating and you're like, see, only other people can do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, which we know is not true.
Well, we start looking for evidence, right? We start looking for, well, see, I'm stuck here in the basement, and I can't go here. Or, you know, we end up looking for evidence that shows us that we should really be in the basement instead of looking for evidence that shows us of the possibility of being in the penthouse. And we have to choose consciously that being in the penthouse is something that's available to us right now. Even if we're still in the basement, we still have to be like, okay, I'm going to commit to getting to the penthouse. I might not know how, but I get to energetically say, you know what, penthouse is available for me, and step into that resonance instead of seeing the basement version of you as being the only thing that's accessible or available, right? I think
so.
Go ahead, Sarah.
So I just wanted to add something to that, is that, you know, sometimes the basement energy doesn't even belong to us. Yeah. You know, it doesn't belong to us. And in my book that I'm launching on the 27th of September, is that I talk about, you know, the DNA that we actually hold on to from 3 generations of unhealed pain and trauma. So the basement energy doesn't even belong to us. It belongs to somebody else who couldn't see the vision of going to the penthouse. So we in our DNA, we energetically attach to that energy. And so we're fighting against what we want. We're fighting against all the energy that doesn't belong to us in the first place.
Yeah.
So what we get to do is we get to be the cycle breaker who breaks that cord from the past. And it's not like we just take a pill and, you know, lo and behold, oh, we're there. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But we do it, and we do it because we know that the end result is going to get us to our final destination. I think this work, it's a lifelong process.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh my God, we get to live this amazing life, getting to maybe the penthouse keeps going higher and higher. Yeah. You know, depending on, you know, what we want in our lives.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so good. Yes. I love that, because I do think that sometimes people think, okay, well, once I do this thing, then I'm done. And this work is not like a light switch. It's not like we turn it on and it's done. And it's a constant daily practice that we get to do.
It's like I always say it's like whack-a-mole. You know, you're like, oh great, I've got everything all like, oh wow. And then it's like, then there's like something else that you need to work on. And then, you know, you kind of push that one down. And then, so it is a lifelong process. I keep my process. It is a lifelong process, but it's like the journey to the destination. I mean, until I take my last breath, I will be climbing higher and higher in my ascend to my penthouse. Whatever that looks like. Yeah.
So beautiful. Leslie, tell us about, you've been so patient here. Well,
that's okay. I'm just enjoying the
back and forth. I would love to hear, I know that you work, or you're in Sarah's world, your environment is absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. I just moved into my penthouse.
Oh, I love
it. This is my penthouse. I just moved in this week. So yeah.
So
we just moved into this room. This room has been an ongoing process. It's an addition. So it's been ongoing process, moving in and getting it finished and getting into it. So we just moved in this past week. So this has been a manifestation of epic proportion.
And this is, I was just going to say, you know, this, and, you know, she was in basement and we've cleared the basement, and every single one of us deserve to have this incredibly abundant life, whatever that looks like, you know? So, you know, it's a beautiful ascension to have watched Leslie go from the basement to the penthouse.
It's been a long process. It's been over a year, working with Sarah. And I was definitely in the bargain basement.
The bargain basement. I love that too.
I was in the bargain basement because I love a bargain. So I'll call my place a bargain basement. But I definitely was in the basement. I definitely had to clear. I definitely had to get rid of 3 generations of pain and trauma. And I was able to do that thanks to Sarah. And it was definitely something that I needed to do, but was afraid to start. Wasn't sure even that I didn't even know where to start or what to do.
Yeah.
But I just know I needed to do something. And it's been glorious, absolutely glorious. I haven't looked back. I really haven't. I just relationships have done complete 180s. I've done a complete 180, and that's allowed relationships to do complete 180s, difficult relationships to change. And just it's allowed me to change my environment, both physically and emotionally, and it's something that I would recommend to everyone. Absolutely recommend to everyone.
And I love that, because I just wish I could do like when you as well, creating the before, the basement, no matter what women, which I call all my, I don't really like the word client, but to see the transformation from the basement to the penthouse, because with your work, because you are, I see you as a very spiritual woman, and it's not just the masculine energy of doing, it is all about soul. And I see you as this leader, the light. We are just the lights to this work, right? The people, the no matter what women are the ones that are actually doing the work. So kudos to Leslie and all of your clients that are, and my clients that are doing the work. We are just showing what is possible because we've already gone through the process.
Oh my gosh,
right?
so good. Yeah. And I love how, one of the things that you mentioned earlier that I just want to circle back around to, because I think it is so incredibly important right now, especially right now for women, is being the cycle breaker. And
I can't believe you just said that. I was just thinking that.
What you were thinking? Yeah. I'm like, no, it is time. Like, we get to do this right now. There are so many crazy changes happening in the world right now. And, Sarah, my story, but, a little bit for those of you that don't know my story, I went through a 17-year marriage and ended up coming out on the other side, divorced with 3 children, no house, no income, no money, like literally $25 in my checking account, to recreating who I wanted to be in my late 40s and breaking the cycle of not just getting out of a toxic relationship like my mother and my grandmother did, but to create financial independence for myself. So today,
oh my God,
a 6-figure business.
Yes. And I love this. Yes.
Here's the thing though, is that many women might leave the relationship, but that maybe they're not fully able to embrace yet their own financial independence or their own worthiness to allow them to create what it is that they want to create that's going to support them. I know for my mom and my grandmother, that was true. And my grandmother, they were stuck in toxic relationships. They got out of that. They broke that cycle. And yet there's another piece, right? Where we get to also to create wealth in our own lives. And we need to talk more about wealth with women. Like, we just need to have more conversations and normalize that.
Yeah. So, and I love that. And I really respect your story, because, you could have easily settled, stayed in your basement, put up with it, settled for mediocrity. And I love this analogy, since we're into analogies, that I felt like an oak tree that was planted in a Dixie cup. Like, I wanted to expand, in every direction. And I wanted to be in that penthouse, but I was in my Dixie cup. So there was no expansion at all. So what I've done is, planted this oak tree in this wide open field. Does it feel freaking scary sometimes? Yeah, because I was a stay-at-home mom. I absolutely cherished raising my children.
Me too.
But I didn't have any financial independence. We had to ask if we could spend money or whatever.
Right.
And now I am, and one of my wants or desires was to be financially independent, and universe is like, okay, here you go. And and I am now on my own. I mean, almost. We're getting to the last nitty gritty. I mean, I'm very fortunate that we have a very amicable relationship, but I'm still on my own. I am investing a ton of money right now because I'm launching my book, I'm marketing, I'm and it's freaking scary. But what do we say? We feel the fear and we do it anyway. What are you going to do? Just stay in the basement is kind of safe. It kind of smells a little moldy, but it's okay. We'll just put up with that.
It's manageable. Right.
It's manageable.
I know what it's like. I know what to expect here in the basement, right?
It's almost safe.
Yeah.
Right.
It is.
It's like, even though, it does smell a little bit and, that it's fine. I hate when people, it's fine.
Yeah.
And no, we all get to expand. We get to work with people like you, with me, with whomever, but just do something.
Yeah.
Just do something. Even if it's, having a call with you or whatever, just do something, because that little something, and this is how I teach, is like, do one thing, tiny thing, one thing. Clean out a freaking junk drawer to start out with. Don't say, oh, I'm going to energize my entire house, because you're not going to do anything. But if you say, I'm going to energize my junk drawer or one space, it's like, wow, it's amazing. And it's really funny because, not really funny, but it's interesting that Leslie is here because she was a stager. So she knows all about environment. And we're kind of talking about, creating a course about this, because she is a stager and she understands about your outer environment and how she does the more decorating thing. I'm into the more, spiritual energy of your room. But it is so amazing when we learn to expand. We take that small step, and then those little steps take you to your ultimate destination. And just to finish that thought, is that sometimes when we are trying to manifest something, we manifest the final destination, and then it's like all exciting for the first 2 days, and then it totally gets overwhelming. So what I do is I teach people to manifest. Okay, if you I mean, I'm just saying, if you want to run a marathon or something, you don't think about you crossing the finish line, right? You take the little tiny steps to get, maybe the next day and it's raining, you visualize yourself getting up at 5:30, and you visualize yourself tying your shoes, and you visualize yourself, running and getting to that 3rd mile, and you're freaking tired and your ear pods have run out. It's the little steps of visualization, knowing that those little steps are going to take you to your final destination of winning the race.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you're so good. And I want to play on that idea, because, and you may have heard the statistic, but typically marathon runners, they give up, like they put in all this training, and yet when they're in the marathon, what we know to be true is that most people give up at mile 21. They're almost there, and they give up at mile 21. And it's because they can't see necessarily the finish line, right? It's like you're like, oh my gosh, I still have this many miles to go. I can't see the finish line, and I just can't do this anymore. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I think that's the power of having somebody like you to help them see, no, we're just going to take another step. No, you can take one more step. You can take one more step. You can take one more step, right? So when you have the support of somebody that is going to help you just take that next step, then you don't give up at mile 21. You actually end up crossing the finish line. But so many of us as women feel like we've got to do it all our own. We've got to figure it out on our own. We've got to be the super women. We've got to do all of the things. And we don't really allow ourselves to have the support that we need to stay accountable and just take that next step and stay inspired.
Yes. Oh, I don't, I mean, I guess in my past life, I was one of those women that I thought I had to do everything myself.
Yeah.
You know, in my marriage, you know, I did everything.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah.
You know, yes, we had the traditional, or I mean, maybe untraditional now, but you know, where he built his business. I kind of fertilized his business so that he could grow, and I was, doing my thing, driving my kids to school. They went to a school an hour away. I drove every day, morning and night.
Wow.
And I had beautiful cooked meals. Everything was all done. You know, the house was immaculate. But I didn't know that I could ask for help. And we do that over and over again. What is that? And I think it's patriarchy, where we feel like women have to do it all.
Yeah.
We have I mean, now I have 3 coaches on my own because I'm in an up level.
Me too. I love support.
But we're in this really high ascension to the next level. I know I can't do this alone. And if somebody says, oh no, I'll just do this. Like, okay, well, what are you doing? Like I've had, a workout coach. What do you call this? A trainer.
Yeah.
I've had, nutritionists. I've had all these things. Yes. Now I can do it myself, except for the mindset, because I'm in a totally different area of ascension right now.
Yeah.
We can't do it alone.
No,
and
not meant to. And we're really not.
No, because ego will start saying, you're good. Just do it tomorrow. I mean, how many times have you heard that?
Yeah.
Or, you'll I don't want to hear those voices anymore. And I am like everybody, that I still have, those old limitations, like the energy, because I'm in this major thing about money, which was this huge trigger for me when I was in my marriage. And now I'm learning how to manage it, to spend it when I want to work with my financial guy. I never thought I would do that, because I always thought I had to do it myself. So I think that that is one of the saboteurs that keeps us really stuck, is like, oh, I'll just do it myself. I'm
so true. Oh my gosh, so true. It is. There's no way I could be where I am today without help. No way. I would have given up so long ago. I would have been like, oh, this isn't possible for me. I'm just going to give up. And it's only because I said, I'm going to follow this. I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to receive the support to get to where I want to go. I want to model in a way that, somebody is modeling for me and where I want to go. And that's, there's multiple ways to manifest and to build and grow a business. The key is that you want to find somebody that you resonate with, that you see, they have what it is that I would like. And not like you want to take it from them or anything, but you see that, yes, oh my gosh, I would love to have, a business that way, or I would love to have a life this way, or I would love to do these things. And you get to learn from each other, right? This really is, we started off our conversation today talking about collaborations, and that is what it is. You're partnering with somebody so that they can read the label on the outside of the bottle when you're in the bottle, because you can't see what you need to see in order to get yourself out of the way.
Well, but I think that's a really good point. And also I think that the energy that a lot of women feel is value, deservability. No, I don't, I'll just do that for some. And I was a recovering person from that as well. Like the deservability to get to invest. We don't want to say to, spend, because spend only goes one way, where investment is like a flow.
Yeah.
But we get to invest in ourselves. And what that does is that raises our value, our deservability. We are, we feel good about ourselves. We feel that high vibe. But I think that deservability is a real issue with especially women, because it's like, well, let me buy, my son and my children all the beautiful things, but I'll just take, the scraps. And that was me. Like, oh no, I'm gonna invest every bit of my energy in, making sure that my husband has all the support to build his business, and I will put all my energy into making sure my kids are happy and they're getting good grades and all that. Who was there for me? I didn't have nobody was lifting me up. Right. And so you stay in that. So the basement gets, you kind of try to redecorate your basement.
Redecorate the basement. Right? It's so true.
And and it's so dark and you can't see it. And there's nothing that lights you up in there. No one is there to help you redecorate. And what you get to do is you get to first redecorate the space in your mind. Right. And then you're able to get out of the basement. So get out of the basement.
Get out of the basement. Oh my gosh, this is so good, Sarah. I swear I could talk about this for hours and hours. And so here's what I want to do to kind of help us bring this full circle. You were talking about what you can do. And so I would love for Sarah to share two things. Number one, how can people learn more about energizing your environment? Because I definitely want to hear more about that. And also, what is something that they could do today? I know you said pick a junk drawer, pick something, take a small step. Like, what is one thing that somebody could do today to energize the environment?
So I'm going to give you. So I haven't yet put this on my website because I'm doing all these things with my book, but I'm realizing like, oh, this is a huge step. So the way to get a hold of me is just to get a hold of me. You can direct message me and we can do a session. So it's an Energize Your session. And so just get in touch with me if this is something that is interesting to you. And the one step. So this is what we do in the session is we talk about when you walk into a room, what is the story or emotion that you feel? What is that right as you walk into that room? What is the emotion that you feel? In my house, when everybody that walks in, I just had somebody fixing my computer and she walked into my room and she goes, oh my God, I feel so relaxed. That's what I want. To peace and quiet and calmness. Leslie's been to my house many times. But what is that? So think about it. When you walk into a room, like I call it your sacred space. What is the first story or emotion that you feel? Number one. The second is cleaning out that junk. Like one small, I do this in in small increments because I kind of get a little carried away and I say, all right, I'm going to redo my whole room. So I pick a space. Small could be my underwear drawer, even though I don't wear underwear, but I mean, well, that's another thing, right?
Your underwear would be your underwear drawer.
Okay, if you wear underwear, take out your underwear drawer. But like, pick something that really annoys you, like an underwear drawer or sock drawer or junk drawer. I can't stand junk drawers because
Colt jumped right up. What? You don't wear underwear? What? Look at Colt in the background. He's like, what?
Right. Yeah. Well,
here comes
Thomas.
Thomas.
So you just pick small places. What do you want that to look like? What is it that you want to feel? Like, okay, if you feel like it's disorganized, what do you want to feel instead? So just pick a small spot to start with. And then, and again, this is not a journey that we can do on our own. I've done so many of these sessions now. It's like, oh, well, I think I'm going to make it into, one of my sessions on my website because it is a tool. It's energize your environment so that you can feel, because how much time, I spend a lot of time in my home. So I want to make sure that area is as energizing as possible.
Beautiful.
So I'm,
Yeah.
this is in in the works, but if anybody wants to do a session, there, because, I'm here and I'm doing it for the first time, there is a small discount on it right now, only now, but when it goes onto my website, the investment will be a bit more. So if you want to do this, do it right now. I am most likely going to pull Leslie in, because she's like a phenom with the whole decorating. So this is really good, and it makes a huge difference when we are, you talked about the energy. This is so important to keep our creativity, that creative part of us, open.
Yes.
Open to the universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It allows us to get those divine downloads that allow us to take the next step, that allow us to manifest what we want. So we'll definitely make sure, Sarah, that you drop the link in the Facebook group. And then for those of you that are watching this on replay, we'll be sure to include the link for you in the email. And then the last thing that I want to share before we pop off today is that if you are a wellness entrepreneur, if you're a holistic practitioner, and you want to manifest more income in your business, what I've got coming up is a cash infusion workshop. So it's a free workshop. We're actually going to be doing it live with 2 separate times, one at 11 a.m. and one at 7 p.m. We're not going to be doing it on recording, because you're going to get the best results if you actually show up. There's going to be a playbook that we're giving you. And so if this is something that you want to learn how to manifest, how to create income in your business to the tune of $1,000 to $10,000 in 30 days or less, join me in this workshop. I'm going to be sharing 7 potent actions that you can take quickly to actually do this. And we will always start from this alignment piece of energy. So again, you need both, right? We need energetics and we need strategy. They work together. Right. It's not an either. Right. So
I love that. And maybe before they come on to your workshop, they clean out a junk drawer so they feel open.
I love that. Yes. Clean out your junk drawer before August 8th, 2022. Yeah. Yes. So I'll share the link as well for those of you that are on. If you're in the Facebook group, it's posted inside of the Facebook group. If you're watching this on replay in an email, we'll make sure that you get the link to register. Again, it is for free. And we're actually giving away some goodies for those of you that show up live, because again, showing up for yourself. If you want to create something, you get to show up for yourself.
Show up for yourself and invest in yourself.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Show up and invest. Like, okay, that's it. That's like but it sounds easy, but so many people are like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. It's like, what are we waiting for? I have my little sign outside that I put a saying on out for all the beach people, and it says, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Live your best life now.
Yes.
Like, what are we all waiting for?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I have to say this last thing because oh my gosh, you guys, I see this over and over again. And this is what I see specifically around women. And of course I work with women, so I'm going to see this, right? But why is it that when we want to invest in our business, that it feels like, or, women feel like, oh, I have to ask permission for it, or somehow it's taking out of the grocery budget. But I guarantee, Sarah, when your husband wanted to invest in his business, he invested in his business because he saw it as a business, right? We get to see our businesses as businesses. If you're building a business or investing in yourself in whatever way that you want to invest in, that is an investment that's not taking groceries out of the grocery budget.
But I think people see, oh, it's all cute and everything to work with a coach, and no, when you invest in yourself, you are the investment. Like who you are, your being is the investment. So how amazing is that? Your being is your investment, not what you're doing. So what is that thing that your self-worth is your self-value is your, what is it?
Is your net worth.
Yeah, your self-worth is your net worth. So anyway, so thank you so much. Thank you, Leslie, for coming on.
You're
here.
Welcome. Thank you.
And thank you, Thomas, for jumping up when I said no underwear. But
oh my gosh. gosh.
Anyway, thank you so much, Christine or Chris, and I will, hope to talk to you again.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. We'll do this lots. This is so much fun. All right, everybody. Have an amazing day. Be sure to check out the links, get in touch with Sarah, sign up for the Cash Infusion workshop, clear out your junk drawer, change your environment, and together we get to change the world. We get to be the empowered women that we are.
I love that we are all meant to be. Absolutely. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. Bye.